What's up, y'all? This is your boy Eddie Jackson, the Drop That Podcast. This is episode Fight Talk, okay? And this episode is brought to you by Laidback TV. Over 10,000 channels, movies on demand, every sports channel, all the languages, all the HBOs. Y'all get on laidbacktv.com to see how you can download it on your iPhones, Androids, and your Fire Sticks. So let's get into Fight Talk, all right? Because we ain't got time to waste. All right. So, Alexander Usyk versus Rico Van Verhoeven. I think I'm saying his name right. It went down at Glory to Gaza in Egypt. Yo, I'm not going to lie. Shout out to DAZN. Shout out to Ring Magazine, Riyadh Season, His Excellency, Turkey Al-Sheikh. All of them. Everybody involved. I was questioning how this was going to look, right? They never did an event over there in Egypt. With, where the pyramids, everything, I'm a history kind of buff, so like if I was over there in Egypt with the pyramids and everything, I would lose my fucking mind. Like, this is incredible. Yeah, they handled the event. The production was dope. But with boxing, you never know. Everything is too good to be true until it's not, right? The fights are dope, production's dope, but something always gotta go wrong, and it puts a stain on boxing. You know what I'm saying? And I don't fucking get it. I don't. What the fuck are we doing? This shit is insane what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? The fight was dope. Don't get me wrong. I have Rico winning. This was Rico's, I believe, second boxing fight because he's a kickboxing legend. There was talk about him going to UFC. He opted out to get a automatic WBC heavyweight championship fight with the number one undefeated, two-time undisputed champion in Alexander Usyk. Okay? If you don't know who Usyk is, do your fucking Googles. Put some respect on this guy's fucking name. This guy, in this era, the best to do it in heavyweight. Okay? There's always a baddest man on the planet when it comes down to heavyweight. It was Mike Tyson. There was a time that it was Lennox Lewis. There was a time that it was Amanda Holyfield. Klitschko. You can talk about that, or you can talk about Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, all of that. But when you look at his resume, okay, top three guys in the heavyweight division, I would say it's a top five, right? There's a top five, and three of those biggest names, Usyk beat him twice. We talking Daniel Dubois, who's two-time WBO heavyweight champion right now, former two-time world champion Anthony Joshua, 2 wins over him, former WBC heavyweight champion Tyson Fury. He beat him twice. Okay? So, you got to put some respect on Usyk's name. He's the best to do it. But apparently, this is the worst I've ever seen Usyk. Usyk is undisputed at cruiserweight and undisputed at heavyweight. Let alone, it's very hard to do in the 4-belt era, undisputed champion. But he didn't just do it twice. He did it in 2 divisions. You know what I'm saying? And he took that WBC title that he beat Tyson Fury for, and he put it on the line against a kickboxing world champion and was losing the fight. Now, Usyk did get him down. I don't really know why the hell tall-ass Rico was bending his knees going low, because it kind of cost him. I still had it like 7 rounds out of 11. So, majority of the fight, I had Rico winning. Even stunned Usyk. And what was it? At the 11th round, we had one more round left because it's a 12th round world championship fight. Usyk was putting on some combinations on Rico, and as soon as the bell rang, the referee stepped in there and stopped the fight. Rico's not even stunned. Rico's not even looking like he's wobbling like Mike Tyson Punch-Out video game. He stops the fight after the bell. Rico Van Hooven is possibly appealing this defeat. And usually I'd be like, these are pussies who try to appeal on a fight they know they lost. I am actually agreeing with Rico to appeal this loss. Because that referee, that piece of shit referee, literally cost us a really good fight. I don't get why he fucking did it, but he's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit who stops a fight and made it look obvious that the fight was rigged. Now, me saying that does not put any shade on Alexander Usyk, okay? I don't think that had anything to do with him. He came there to fight. He trained. He defended the world title as he was assigned and scheduled to do. So I don't put any blame on him. I put the blame on the referee because he fucked that up. And everyone, whether it was Ariel Helwani, whether it was Turki Al-Sheikh, pretty much almost everybody, even Brendan Schaub, everybody agrees that Rico Van Hooven was winning that fight. And possibly an upset was on the horizon with Usyk losing his first fight. And even if that did happen, Usyk's getting a fucking automatic rematch. He deserves it. You know what I'm saying? But to make it look good for Usyk to win in Egypt is fucking insane. You know what I'm saying? And I don't understand why they did that. Or that referee. And Peter Fury, the one who was in Rico's corner, ran into the referee and asked him, why the fuck did you do that? You fucking cost my guy the fight. Not only that, you made it rigged. You made it look rigged. The referee couldn't have said the worst fucking thing. He basically told him, I didn't hear the bell. He fucked that up. But I'm done with him. Canelo has stated that the most anticipated fight that will never happen against boxing champion David Benavidez is impossible to happen. Canelo's at 168 at super middleweight, while David Benavidez has dominated cruiserweight and light heavyweight, which I believe is cruiserweight. I believe cruiserweight is at, no, I'm sorry, light heavyweight, I believe, is at 175 pounds. And cruiserweight, I believe, is at 205. Because then after cruiserweight is heavyweight. I think Canelo, respect to Canelo, okay? Respect to Canelo. Canelo has the most impactful fucking resume of all time. Yes, he's lost 3 fights. He's lost to Floyd Mayweather, like over 10 years ago. He's lost to Dimitri Bivol, who's fighting this Saturday. Make sure y'all tune in. It's going to be Bivol versus Effort for the unified light heavyweight title. But he lost to Bivol, and then his third fight, which was nearly a year ago, Terrence Crawford. He didn't just lose to Terrence Crawford; he lost all his belts, the undisputed championship. Terrence Crawford went on to dominate that fight, win the fight in spectacular fashion by decision, win the undisputed 168-pound championship, and retire. It was not even a competitive fight to point, we need to do a rematch. Nope. How could I top this? There's no point. That's the top of the mountain. Canelo's been urging for us to literally agree with him that he deserves a rematch. I disagree because you lost to Dimitri Bivol, and you talked about going back to 168 to come back to get the rematch with Bivol. No one's interested in it anymore. You got dominated in that fight too. But out of all the fights that he gave, like, I don't know. I don't think Canelo gives the same energy. Because that Triple G trilogy, Triple G definitely won that first fight. Period. So, for it to be impossible, Benavidez stated he will go back to 175, which Canelo has fought at light heavyweight for the championship against Bivol. You should be able to. 168, if you're making 168, your walk around weight could be at 180, 185. So he can go to 175. I think Canelo's full of shit or he's just a pussy. You know, either you don't want to get dominated by Benavidez, as that man will be the next Mexican star. Does Benavidez earn that fight? Yes, 100%. 100%. He dominated 168 and nobody want to fight him. He dominated light heavyweight. Hardly anybody who's a champ wants to fight him. He dominated cruiserweight. There ain't nobody there. I mean, Bivol is not going to fight Benavidez for the light heavyweight championship. And Benavidez already proven he's the top guy for the shot. So all these guys are just fucking scared as shit of Benavidez. So Canelo's full of shit. Even though they had MVP MMA last weekend, Chael Sonnen is talking about the fight to make is Gina Carano versus Holly Holm. Even though they're both fighting at MVP, Holm is scheduled to fight for the WBA lightweight championship in a rematch. I hope she kills it. I hope she gets that belt. She's well deserved. Legend, Hall of Famer in kickboxing, Hall of Famer in UFC, former bantamweight champion, Hall of Famer in boxing. You know what I mean? She's a 3-sport fucking world champion. Fucking stunned the world a decade ago, knocking out Ronda Rousey. Yeah, but no, that's not the fight. Gina Carano needs a winning fight in order to ride off into the sunset if she's thinking about coming back again for one more. It shouldn't be a main event, just saying, but she deserves a better training team because they failed her against Ronda Rousey. The number one thing you should have been training for was that fucking armbar, and it looked like they weren't training for none of that. So fuck her team. So former UFC middleweight champion DDP Dricus du Plessis and former UFC welterweight champion the Nigerian Nightmare Kamaru Usman on a collision course at middleweight. I like this fight, actually. Some people think it don't make sense. There's nothing to gain for DDP. There's nothing to lose for Usman and everything. I disagree. I think DDP, there is no fight really for DDP. Like, who you going to fight? You know what I'm saying? If you're not fighting Strickland in a trilogy for the title, which I don't know if that fight even sells. The first 2 fights were like, eh. What do? You know? Imavov? Maybe. Izzy's on a 4-fight losing streak, so you can't do the rematch. I don't know who you do. I don't know what you do with DDP. But if he's going to entertain another African king, because DDP already got a win over Izzy, go after the other Nigerian, which is Usman. I think that will be interesting. This would definitely put Usman in a position, if he wins, to try to go for the middleweight championship. I mean, he won't go for that title if it was Izzy coming up for it or he was the champ. That's a clear-cut way to go right to the title. You beat the former champ, right? And you could, if he knocks out DDP, it'll be kind of hard to not give him the shot. You could sell it. Definitely you could sell it. Strickland versus Usman, you could definitely sell it. But with all the wrestling that's going to be involved, I don't know how Usman's knees are going to hold up in a middleweight fight. So let's see. But I'm really hyped for that fight. Before we get out of here, put some shine on the Brand Risk event that took place a few days ago. The only one that really interests me was the MMA fight with Super Hot Fire and Ray J. Yes, I said it. R&B singer Ray J was in an MMA fight, looking bloated, fighting a guy who actually has more experience, actually. And he gets his ass knocked out in another fucking dimension. First of all, Ray J is a singer. You know what I'm saying? You know, he gave you One Wish. He gave you I Hit It First. He gave you one of my favorites, Wait a Minute, from his debut back in, I forgot what year it was. Could have been 2000, 2001 or something like that. I'm going to go with a limb and say 01. You know, the younger brother of Brandy, legendary singer as well. Fucking legend on VH1 with reality TV, Love and Hip Hop, and the love for the love of Ray J. It's like, he go on a limb, and with all this shit he's been talking about, his heart is not good. You know what I'm saying? With all the drinking he does, a few months back he was getting arrested for pulling a gun on his baby moms. You know, I don't get what the fuck was he thinking. You know what I mean? And then when he gets knocked out, he goes on the microphone stating, oh, I thought we had a plan with Super Hot Fire. Like the fight was set up for him to throw it. Or there was a plan to try to stretch it out to go all 3 rounds and make a bag. If any of this is true, Brand Risk has the right to hold all purse profits of the fight and not pay Ray J. And that means the FBI is going to possibly be called, and there's going to be an investigation if this fight was being rigged in any way. This is illegal. I don't know how much I got to stress this out. It is illegal, and if you're actually going on the microphone proving it is, you're a fucking idiot. And Ray J deserves to get locked up if this is what he did. He shouldn't have even been in the fucking cage to begin with. You know what I mean? Whack 100, who represents Ray J, literally stated he's against him being in that fucking cage, and he stated he had no idea about it. And if Whack 100 is telling the truth, I agree with Whack 100. He shouldn't have been in that fucking cage. He's a fucking idiot. He need to get his ass in the studio or stop doing all this bullshit. All these interviews with him talking about, you know, the Kardashians, you know, going in lawsuits, you know, about the sex tape and everything. You know, he went on, what shows he went? I believe he went on the Jason Lee, the Jason Lee show. I believe he went on there. Saw him on a couple of shows and podcasts talking about this, and he needs to stop. He needs to stop because this is bad now. This is bad. This is bad. You know, this motherfucker didn't look like he even trained for the fight. You know, he was like fat as shit. I'm done with Ray J. But this is I'm so fucking done with him. But it's your boy Eddie Jacks. This is a Drop That Podcast for Fight Talk. Y'all make sure y'all hit that sub button, hit the likes, you know, get the hype up. Let me know what y'all feel about what Canelo said about Benavidez. What y'all think DDP and Usman is a good matchup? Do you think Rico Van Hooven beat Alexander Usyk? And what y'all think about Ray J getting his ass knocked the fuck out? Alright? Y'all be cool, alright? Peace.